Hello there and welcome back. Let's grab a coffee and build a Raspberry Pi based PiHole, which is basically an ad blocking service. So I think I placed my last order this year on the Pi Hut for now, at least for sure. And I have 32 gigabytes of SSD. I have two heat sinks for the Pi Zero. And I have the Pi Zero itself. Let's unbox it. So this is what it comes in. And it has its nice protective foam. And if we remove carefully the cover, then this is how it looks like. And this is the Pi Zero 2W, so with the headers. Oh, and the headers are straight. And of course, I had to order the official Raspberry Pi power brick. And this is going to be the case. So this is the FLIRC case for the Pi Zero 2. And if we open up the package, hopefully, then this is what's inside. So basically that's the bottom part. It's the case itself. It comes with a nice little handle. There are some screws and a heatsink pad. Let me pick up from the ground. And this is the other part. This is for the headers. And the next part is going to be the assembly. So guys, here comes the fun part. We are going to assemble everything. So currently we have some screws. And I will not even need the heat sinks, but we will see. So here you can see at the bottom that basically it has a slot for the SD card, and the top one also comes out. And then what do we have to do? This is going to be the way inside. And I think I'm gonna remove this one. Yes, I will. So once we have the Pi in here, we can make sure that it doesn't go away by screwing in the appropriate ones. So let's try that. Oh, that's the right size. So here we go. And maybe, just maybe, it's not even the right way. Ah, I see. So technically that's for the ribbon cable, that slot. And I will have to do the formatting of the SD card in advance, because otherwise I will not be able to put it in there. And once this is done, I will have to use this one to close up the cover and screw in the screws. And this is going to be the top side. So basically that's it. And we don't actually have place for the heatsink, because that is going to stand flush in. So I will put it in spare mode there. So that's all for the, let's give it a short break, create the SD card, and then we are going to put it together. So, just an intermezzo. Let's create our Raspberry Pi image. And what I will do is select the 02W, and on the OS part, we are going to use the light version, and we are going to use the SD card, which I just inserted, and we are going to edit the settings, raspberryhole.local, and the username is going to be the usual. And we are going to configure the SSID. And we are going to select the country. So Hungary. And the time zone is Euro Budapest is good. And the keyboard layout is going to be Hungarian. I don't know, throughout this whole journey that I had in the IT career, I could never get used to the English keyboard layout. And the hard part is when, for example, I ordered this keyboard, is to get a keyboard which is mechanical, compatible with Mac OS and Windows, and it has a ISO Hungarian layout. But let's do the magic of editing, and we jump right back into the assembly. So now that we have the Raspberry Pi image created, we should be able to finally assemble it. Oh, and I also bought a micro HDMI cable, because last time I had to basically reinstall the NAS, because let's say I was the problem. And now this is going to be the cooling material, and this comes off here as well. So I just wanted to make sure that I can see whatever is happening when the machine is booting, if I ever had to troubleshoot the boot process. So let's lay it out here. Okay, so this is how this looks like. And if everything goes well, we should be able to put it here. And then we are going to put the bottom part inside. Okay, I just want to see if the card is flush. Yes, it is. So the bottom part comes in. Let's put in the screws. That's hopefully better than the argon case. By the way, I have noticed, and I did some digging, and when I'm using the NAS over Wi-Fi, so the Pi is connected to Wi-Fi, and I'm copying files, it's around 25 megabytes per second. And when I use it over the Ethernet, so I disconnect from Wi-Fi, plug in the Ethernet cable and copy that way, then it's able to utilize the gigabits per second over Ethernet, and it's way, way, way faster. So we have these two, and I think I'm gonna leave it this way. That way the heat can also come off. So the next thing that we are going to do is to try and power it up and log in, hopefully. So let's do that. So let's see if the Raspberry Pi booted up, but I'm going to tell you a secret, it did. So now what I want to do is to basically enter to my router and check the client list. And as you can see, this 103 got the Raspberry Pi hole's address, or this is the address of the Raspberry Pi hole. So Raspberry Pi, or yeah, just Raspberry hole. So sudo vi etc hosts, and what I want to do is to use the 192.168.50.103 and say that rpi hole, and that should be it. And if we ping rpi hole, you can see it responds, and if you want to SSH into it, it is going to let us in. So as part of the standard configuration, I usually copy my SSH ID. So SSH copy ID raspberrypi at rpi hole and -i. Hold on, I'm in the Raspberry Pi. So SSH copy ID and did I edit the right one? I did. So SSH copy ID username at rpi hole, and yes. And if everything is working fine, I can use the rpi hole's SSH to log in. So the next thing that I usually do is to adjust my config. And this should be adjusted on my Mac OS. So here, what I want to do is to use the host entry rpi hole, and the user is going to be raspberrypi, and the identity file is going to be sshid_rsa. I know it can use patterns and I could reduce the size, but I love doing these things. So that's one thing, and save it. And the next thing is to use the rpi hole and sudo su and nano etc sshd.config. And I want to disable the user name out or password authentication. So the pubkey authentication needs to be enabled, and the password authentication set to no. And now systemctr restart sshd, and if I try to log in with another user, I should get this permission denied. That's good. So ssh pi hole rpi hole, sorry. Let's clear it and use the sudo to update. And once the update is complete, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the chip which is inside the Raspberry Pi 02 is the same as inside the Raspberry Pi 3. So it's kind of fast, and it has some also resources that we can manage. But our main point is going to be the PiHole. So what I want to do is to install it. So yeah, change its version, that's fine. Upgrade -yes. And 60 packages are going to be updated. So we have a one-step automated install, and we have alternative install methods. That should be it. And PiHole URL dashboard admin interface That's cool. Maybe I will register another no IP user so I can have extra domains. So if we, what did I want to do? Oh, by the way, while it is doing this, what I want to do is to go to the RPi cluster and vi at C hosts. Oh, and I have to use nano and 192.168.50.103 RPi hole. That's one thing. And I want to do it on the Raspberry Pi. Let's see, hosts. Let's just copy paste it. This is my DNS resolution. And I'm also aware that I could simply use RPi NAS. I could simply use a DHCP server, but for now, I'm good with this. So that should be the RPi hole. Ping RPi hole. Cool. And let's see how the updates go. Okay, so what I want to do is to also use the cluster.ddns.net just to add the RPi hole. Let's create a folder. Raspberry Pi 02. And okay. Let's rename it. Okay. Why is it not going to let me do this? Rename folder. Oh, there is a name limit. Great. Or the length limit. Pi 02W. Cool. Now let's add a new server. And we want to say that this is the Raspberry Pi 02W and 192.168.50.103. And the identities should be key file and the user is mine. And what I will do is to copy the IDRSA to the desktop so I can upload it. How do I navigate there? Desktop, IDRSA, and create it. So Pi 02W is ready for service in here. The next thing is the monitoring. So raspberrypi uptime.ddns, and let's go to the dashboard. How are we with the updates? Oh, it's still working. So Raspberry Pi services, storage, websites. How should we do it? Let's add the new monitor. It's going to be a ping and Raspberry Pi 02W and the host name RPi hole. And that's one thing. And the monitor group is going to be Raspberry Pi 02W, and just confirm it and save it. And 192.168.50.103. And now it's up. Cool. So now we can go to the status pages and edit the status page. And I want to add a monitor Pi 0W and the components. Well, let's add the component as well. Zero to W, and that's good. Let's save it. And the other thing that I want to set up is the monitoring. So in the previous video, if you remember, we used the passive check. So sudo and cron tab -L, and this is going to be our monitor. And let's log into the PiHole and sudo su and cron tab -E, and this is going to be the check. And what I will do is to get the opt monitor storage, and this is going to be the script that we want to use. Ctrl+C, and I use the mkdir under opt to create the monitor, and the nano opt monitor storage.sh. Let's paste it here. And we need the info from the df-h. That's going to be the right device. And we need to create a check. So here, under the monitors, under storage, we are going to create a new monitor. And this is going to be a passive monitor type. And Raspberry Pi 02W storage. And this is going to be the token that we need. And we are going to copy paste it here. Good. And good. And just save it. chmod +X opt monitor storage, and then run it. So let's give it to the appropriate folder and save it. And we are going to see, okay, that is working. One thing that comes to my mind is that it should be set to 300, because that's how these are also configured. So that's going to be the storage. All right, let's see the status page, 02W. And we don't want to expand on the storage part. And now the update is complete. So we can go back to the PiHole. And let's see the installation. And let's copy and paste it. SE Linux, that not detective. Update local config. Let's do the magic of editing. So we got a warning message that this will transform your device. It's free, but it should accept donations. PO server needs static IP address to function properly. That's fine. Continue. Okay. So upstream DNS provider. That's fine, I guess. And Steven unified host list. Yes, install the web admin interface. What's the web interface? That's on HTTP, so that should be fine. Query logging, yes. Show everything. Okay, so now it's going to install some more dependencies. So, as you can see, the installation has been completed. So let's try to reach the web interface. So HTTP 192.168.50.103/admin. Oh, and this is going to be the password. So Y84 R98XS. So Y84 and save it. And we are inside the PiHole. So how do we verify it? So let me try and spin up a PC. So we are going to use Windows 11. And here we are going to set the setting to use the PiHole as a DNS server. So here we are going to need a CMD and cpa.cpl and properties IPv4 DNS servers 192.168.50.103 and OK and close and ipconfig /all. So 103, that's the DHCP server and slookup google.com. And this is going to be the PiHole which is responding, and maybe, just maybe, it's going to work. No, I want to start without my data. Start browsing. youtube.com. Accept all. And as you can see, we have two active clients, and basically that's the localhost, virtual interface, and so on, and I don't know, Dota gameplay. And let's start it.
Itt vannak az alzsanapok!
So
Spórolj te is az alzsanapokkal!
this was not blocked. However, list block queries. These are pop-ups. So technically, this is how you can set up the PiHole. And basically, after this, you should be able to see what are the queries which are blocked and so on. Bing. Oh, lots and lots of things got blocked. And maybe PiHole YouTube ad blocking. Have for ads in YouTube. You cannot block it. Okay. But on websites, you should be able to block it. So what do we have as website? Which is hardware pro.hu. Okay, accept it. Let's see if the blocking happened. Oh, it's working. Upstream servers, settings, lots and lots of Microsoft nonsense. We have the query log. We have different groups that we can use. And here we should have the clients. And the domains, local DNS, DNS records, CNAME records. So technically that was all I wanted to show you. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.